Cole, you should probably clip that thing that I just said about how maybe there are some Sophia fans or Christine fans who also like D&D or musicals, and then Kai saying statistically there's at least one, and just put that at the beginning to sort of set the tone. I'm not soft. I'm just stealing.
You have so much nail polish that
I'm
even doing
aware.
a single drop of every single one of these, it's gonna be a significant amount.
I am starting to question some life choices at this point. I cannot tell a lie.
We also have to put it all back after.
I'm aware. And I think that's everything. What is this? Hello, friends, and welcome to another video. Today, I will be mixing together all of my Holo Taco and not at all questioning my life choices that led me to owning quite so much Holo Taco. Kai is gonna keep me company while I do that, and also Kai has a bit that they wanna do, so you better be nice.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to my channel. I'm Kai, the interview guy, and today I'm interviewing about their Reality Shaper musical podcast on my totally legitimate channel that I've definitely had for years, that definitely exists. Click the button below to join the Kai crew. Did you really come up with it? I have prepared some interview collections, not the word.
Kai is
interview
actually
questions. I'm a totally legit interviewer.
totally a legit interviewer gonna ask me questions about the musical.
The musical?
The music bucket. Pasta.
All right, so first of all, why don't you tell us a little bit about the Reality Shaper musical podcast?
I would love to. So the Reality Shaper is a D&D inspired fantasy musical podcast based on a D&D game that my friend Chloe was running many years ago. I wrote the novel, The Reality Shaper, as a birthday present for Chloe. You know, I'm not a novelist. I'm a
The
musical
Reality
theater
Shaper
writer.
and not so musical novel.
Very good. So, I don't even know where to start. Oh my god.
Start at the beginning, and when you get to the end, finish.
Gosh.
What color do you think it's going to be when you're all
I
done?
have no idea.
Let's color predictions now. My prediction
done?
is that it's going to be purple.
That makes a lot of sense. I think it's going to be brown. I'm sorry, what was your question?
Oh, you were telling us a little bit about what is the Reality Shaper, a musical podcast.
Right. So I wrote the book years ago. And I'm not a novelist. I'm a musical theater writer. So pretty much the second I sent the project over to Chloe was like, okay, Reality Shaper musical when? And I was like, well, it's a 63,000 word novel, so you can probably expect that right about the time that 6.5-hour musicals come into fashion. But the thing is, I had just been diagnosed with autism. Yay!
Shocking. It's not shocking. All my guests on my channel are autistic.
Oh, that's your thing?
Yeah.
So I was trying to come up with ways to make musical theater that was more accessible to the disabled community, to the low-income community, to just generally, you know, anyone who faces access barriers when it comes to traditional musical theater. And so I was like, well, an episodic musical podcast that's sort of like Crazy Ex-Girlfriend, 36 questions, in strange woods sort of thing. Well, that's a project that could be this.
This is going to be a doozy to edit down.
That's what we have Cole for. Thank you, Cole.
Everybody thank our editor Cole down in the comments.
Vibes.
And can you talk a little bit more about your commitment to accessibility? What made you decide to go that route?
I grew up, as many AFAB people do, with undiagnosed autism. So when I got my diagnosis, it changed like what I wanted to do as a person. And so obviously when I changed as a person, that also had an effect on my art and like the art that I was interested in making. And I just like, it was such a beautiful thing, like being introduced to the wider disability community and getting to know all of these incredible people who I hadn't, you know, been introduced to yet in my life. So the thing that I don't usually talk about, when I got my diagnosis, they did a full neurological workup and they told me that I was in the 98th percentile of intelligence. Like really, really, really smart. And I was like, well, the autism explains why I'm apparently really, really, really smart and also show no evidence of being such. But because of that intelligence, I was able to mask. And when you're so good at masking that 98% of the time you seem perfectly neurotypical, then that 2% of the time when, you do come off as autistic, people don't assume that you've just put your foot in your mouth. They don't assume that, you meant that genuinely and not in the, neurotypical way. They assume that you're doing something on purpose to insult them. So I struggled a lot with the social stuff growing up. And I wanted people to know, like, autism doesn't always look like Rain Man or Sean from The Good Doctor. Autism often looks like this. The weird kid who sometimes, goes a little bit nonverbal and
writes a fantasy novel.
In a week.
Absolutely. Tell us about the process of writing the novel that inspired the podcast.
I was playing this D&D game with my friend Chloe was running it, and her birthday was coming up, and so I decided for her birthday I was going to write her a cute little story for my character's backstory.
Which one was your character originally?
I was playing CB, and that's a funny story actually, too, because this was just supposed to be a crack joke character.
Isn't that always how it goes?
Right. But then what ended up happening was every other character in the campaign was so much more of a joke character. That somehow,
that's funny.
Yeah, that somehow my bard with a dark secret ended up being the voice of reason somehow.
Against their will, I'm assuming.
Against their will. Although I did immediately befriend the boars that we were supposed to fight.
Yes.
And then adopted one and named it Boris.
Was Boris the boar named before Boris the guy?
Yes.
Incredible. Incredible.
So I sat down to write my character backstory thinking this will be a fun, 3,000, 5,000 word thing. And then I emerged 7 days later from my mother's office with a 63,000 word novel.
Like a moth from a cocoon. So if CB was your character, what made you decide to focus on Boris as the main character?
I think CB as a character is more interesting when there's a certain amount of mystery involved in their characterization. And so I thought, despite the fact that this was supposed to be CB's backstory, the best way to get to know this character was through the eyes of the person who ostensibly CB's past story was about.
And they kind of don't like each other at the beginning, right?
More than kind of. They don't like each other one bit at the beginning. Understandably so. They are a criminal and he is a guardsman.
Can you talk about what some of your influences are as a writer?
When I sit down and write, I'm never just sitting down and writing to write. I'm always sitting down to write for someone, and that's reflected in the dedications. And usually it's a friend who's supported the work, or just someone who I found so fucking inspiring that I wanted to write a book about them. The second book is dedicated to Phoebe, as you know.
But spoilers.
Spoilers.
We can't get into that right now.
For that, we're gonna have to hope that the Kickstarter is really successful, because I can't do this on the shoestring budget again. God.
I mean, when I was talking about inspiration, I was thinking more like, Stephen Sondheim or writers who inspire you.
Musically, I mean, when have you ever heard about a great American novelist? It's all about the great American musical theater writers. But yeah, Stephen Sondheim, of course, is a big one. I wouldn't say I draw inspiration or influence from Sondheim. I would say I draw slightly more influence from Rodgers and Hammerstein, but let me explain. So Rodgers and Hammerstein Hammerstein especially, trained Stephen Sondheim, and Stephen Sondheim went on to train many great writers in his time. But I think the real brilliance of Rodgers and Hammerstein is the same thing that makes Lin-Manuel Miranda brilliant, which is that you're taking the popular genres of music today and you are using that in musical theater. You know, it's like Cole Porter, Irving Berlin, like in that age, there was really no separation between pop music and theater music. It was all Tin Pan Alley. It was all, you know, it would go in a show, but it was also just a pop song.
So since this is a musical project with more than just the two characters, like I'd assume there's a few characters involved.
There's a few characters involved.
Are there different like not musical stories, that's not the language.
Musical styles.
Musical styles for
Yes, actually, so this is a writing choice that if I was going to rewrite the whole thing today, I don't know if I would come up with this same idea, but I think it does add an interesting flavor to season 1. So the High Elven city of Sidrella is purportedly this really prosperous city, but it has this dark underbelly, and not everyone is, you know, enjoying the same amount of prosperity. And
so what that reminds me of.
Nothing at all. This is all fiction. And so there are two distinct sides of Sidrella, and this is established pretty quickly in the opening number. But so the call that I made was to kind of follow the history of musical theater writing, where the older generation, such as Boris's parents, they sing in literally almost like a Gilbert and Sullivan style, like this classic musical theater style. And then Boris sings in a contemporary musical theater style. Think Pasek and Paul, think Jason Robert Brown, right? But CB and their kind of cohort of less well-off folks, they're singing folk, they're singing rock, they're singing imperfect rhymes, misaccents, you know, intentionally.
So for people coming in from the musical theater world, there's a lot of stuff to love. But what about people that are coming into it from the fantasy side?
Dungeons, dragons, dragonborns, elves, half-elves, demlings. Tiefling is copywritten, so they're demlings.
Incredibly, Dragonborn is not copywritten.
Dragonborn is not copywritten. Halfling is not copywritten. I did a lot of research on this prior to figuring out the book publication. Wizards of the Coast has very smartly kept most things in the public domain because they know that the success of actual play content has skyrocketed their brand way more than any amount of money they've been paying on marketing.
I mean, well, also the Halfling, they had to do that because in the original Generation 1 D&D, it was Hobbit.
And they got in trouble.
And they got in trouble.
I think we as artists, we as rights holders, you know, like we have an obligation to look out for each other. And as much as creating derivative, and I don't mean derivative in the colloquial sense. I mean derivative in the literally this is based on such and such by so and so. When you're creating derivative work, it's very important that you secure the proper rights because otherwise you are impeding on the rights of the very creator who you are purportedly honoring with your work. Unless you're doing parody. If you're doing parody, it's all fair game.
Can you tell us a little bit about I don't know how much you're allowed to say about your super talented cast, but maybe a little hint.
Well, I mean, 3 of them joined on and then subsequently booked stuff on Broadway. So
you have real Broadway stars.
Yeah, well, yeah, a lot of them are on Broadway, but I just want to note that I cast them before they got on Broadway. Like I knew.
Fucking hipster.
No, but Andrew Montgomery Coleman, who plays Travis, he was the original Boris in our pilot episode. That's all just to say that he has been on this project for almost the full 6 years. I think he's been on it for 5 out of the 6 years that it's been in the works. So shout out Drew. I love you, Drew. You already know.
Was him moving to the character of Travis an executive choice or was that his choice?
The cast that we had was a 6-person cast, and it was mostly just friends who we had no problem asking if they would do this for $25 and a slice of pizza. And Drew was a friend off the bat. He was a great Boris. We would have him back as Boris anytime, anywhere. But That said, I think the roles, like the role that came really naturally to Drew was more Travis. Like he's just got this
happy.
Essence. He has this essence to him that is so full of joy and so full of his comedic timing was too good for us to leave him as Boris, basically.
I mean, Boris is kind of in the comedic sense, a straight man.
Boris is kind of a fuddy-duddy, and Drew is really funny. And also, honestly, the second we were in the studio hearing Drew's take on Travis, I was like, oh my God, this is my Travis now and forever. It just came so naturally to him. So yeah, it was an executive decision. He didn't have a say in the matter. But also when I told him that we had Christian Thompson coming on, he was like, Black Fiero? So I don't think there were any hard feelings.
Now, you have talked a little bit about the characters of Boris and CB. Who is Travis?
Travis is Boris's best friend. We can throw a picture of Travis up on the screen if people want to see what he looks like. Travis is a half-orc who is obsessed with local gossip. He's always in the know about everything. He's got this magnetic personality. God, what isn't Travis? I feel like sidekicks get a bad rap. Do you know what I mean? Like, when I think of a sidekick, I think Nimona. I think the person who's there in your corner no matter what. And Travis is pretty much like the romantic ideal of a sidekick. I think he complements Boris really well. The things that he's not as good at allow for Boris to shine, and the things that Boris struggles with are the things that Travis could do all night. I was talking to my parents recently and I was like, who's your favorite? And I'm pretty sure they both said Travis.
Who's your favorite character?
Senior Cadet Peter Harrison is another lawful dragonborn. He's a little bit of a rival to Boris. He's played by Max Tunney, one of my favorite actors of all time. I was in Into the Woods with him. I played the witch and he played the baker. Max is incredible.
Also,
Max,
great comedic timing, but like in a different way.
Shout out Max. Yeah, Max is amazing. Max brought us like a whole orchid as like a thanks for inviting me present. I swiftly killed it. I'm sorry, Max.
We're not great at keeping plants alive.
That makes it extra funny that your favorite musical is Little Shop of Horrors, honestly.
No, it couldn't be me, because if you gave me a plant that ate people, it'd be dead before I even figured that out.
My toxic trait is I think I could fix her. But I feel the same way about J.K. Rowling, so.
You should probably cut that out.
I mean, I don't like her. My toxic trait is thinking that if I could sit down with her in a coffee shop and tell her about how she's hurting all of these people, that I could change her.
I don't think she cares.
But my toxic trait is thinking I could Steven Universe her into caring. Is that really so bad?
Yes!
Okay, Cole, cut it out. Well, for those of you who have recently had to grieve the loss of Harry Potter, I hope that this fantasy world can replace the hole in your heart.
It is a lot more affirming. I have it on pretty good authority. We've been doing this for an hour and we're not even halfway through?
How long did you think this was going to take?
I don't know. Sophia, how do you do it? Fun question. You've got all these colors. Mm-hmm. What manicure are your main characters doing?
I don't know that CB and Boris are nail polish people. I think Travis will probably do a nice, like, purple or brown number.
Okay,
when
but
he's feeling frisky.
CB works with kids. One of the kids wants to paint their nails.
Oh, if Missy's painting CB's nails, it's just a bright pink.
Like this one with the glitter in it? Which shade is this? What a catch!
Yep.
And if Missy's doing Boris's nails. Because he's copper,
bright
so
pink.
It's got to match.
Doesn't matter. Missy owns one tube of nail polish that CB stole for her. And she will paint everyone's nails that color. Missy, by the way, is played by Chloe Chapa.
The original DM.
The original DM of the original campaign that inspired the Reality Shaper.
So she's been involved with the project probably as long as you have.
She's been involved with the project literally as long as I have minus 1 week. The week that it took me to write the first book. once it became clear that this was a project I wanted to continue to pursue in like an actual artistic capacity, I had to sit down with Chloe and the rest of the team, and I was like, hey, I kind of want to keep writing this. How do you guys feel about it? And most of them honestly were like, yeah, you can write my character. You can do whatever you want. And then some of them understandably were like, yeah, I don't know that I want my character written by or controlled by someone who isn't me. So instead of writing about the people who were originally in that campaign, I invented some new characters to tell the story that I was looking to tell.
The universe split.
Yeah, it's a split universe. It is.
Because one thread was the campaign world, and one thread is what became the books, and will hopefully become future seasons of this wildly successful podcast.
Oh god, I hope it's wildly successful. This is one of the originals, I think. No.
The original collection was all
Royalty
sparkly.
blue.
That's one of the older ones, but the original collection was all sparkly. Like this one was Frostlight. There was a gold one, a silver
pretty
one,
sure-
a rose gold one, a red one.
The one that you got me for Christmas was the holiday one, remember? But the one before the holiday one, their first original launch, was Royalty Blue.
Oh, you're right.
Mm-hmm.
Linear Holo Taco, Scattered Holo Taco, Flaky Holo Taco, Royalty Blue, and
Yup.
One Coat Black
One
were
Coat
the
Black.
original launch.
Just like I said. I know my Christine. Christine and Soph aren't the only YouTubers we watch, though.
I mean, I kind of stole my whole intro bit from... I mean, I said, what's up, guys? But I could have been like, what's up, Greg?
You know, we watch Danny and Curtis, Drew. Folks. We also watch Ted Nivison. We do watch the Rainforest Cafe.
That's my comfort video.
And the Margaritaville videos pretty frequently.
One of the pitches for this video, if we weren't going to mix things together, was to go to every Margaritaville in New York City. There's one. The joke is that there's one.
Which we've already been to.
But it has multiple bars in it.
Oh, go to every bar in the Margaritaville in New York City?
I don't think that's a great idea in the middle of a Tuesday. All right. What do you want people to most take away from this project?
I'm so glad you asked me that question. I'm going to tell a story. After I wrote the first book, I went on a family vacation to the Jersey Shore. And my aunt picked up the book, because I brought a printed copy to annotate it. She picked it up, and she went to the beach, and she didn't put it down. She read the whole thing in one beach setting. And when she put it down, she loved it, of course. She's my aunt. She has to love it. But when she put it down, the thing that she said that stuck with me was, I get it now. She had never really been exposed to a non-binary person before in her life. But after reading the book, she was like, I get it now. They're not a boy. They're not a girl. They're an elf.
The three genders.
No, but it was really a moving moment for me. And it made me realize that my plan was working. My homosexual agenda. Because there's just so much queer trauma out there. Do you know what I mean? There's so much sad queer stories. There's so many gay people suffering, trans people suffering. There's just so much of it. And what I want to put out into the world is joy. I want young trans and gender non-conforming people to see that joy isn't just possible, it's probable.
So any pain CB and Boris go through has nothing to do with gender or sexuality.
Nothing to do with their gender or their sexuality, and everything to do with them existing in a fantasy world. Dadoy. Like, I probably shouldn't talk about this. When I was workshopping a piece of the script, the conversation got a little bit derailed, and all anybody could talk about was, okay, but how homophobic are his parents? How in the closet is he? And I just kept having to be like, no. No. That's not what this one is about. There's a million stories about that. This is not one of them. This is just someone who happens to be non-binary in a fantasy world. And Boris, who is, I mean, bisexual, pansexual. I don't know that they have the same vocabulary around it that we do, so I never really gave him like a he's a bicon. You know what I mean? Like, Boris is just not a person who cares about gender, which I think is the definition of pansexual.
Yeah, I was like, take what I say with a grain of salt, but the way I always understood it was that either gender identity plays a role in the attraction, or if you're pansexual, it doesn't hit different.
And see, that's a little bit why
And that's kind of what I was told, but again, I don't identify as either, and I was told this by one bisexual person.
Well, I've identified as bisexual since I was in high school, and I know kind of exactly what you mean, because the things that I'm attracted to in a man are different from the things that I'm attracted to in a woman, are different from the things that I'm attracted to in a non-binary person. Like, it's the same attraction, but it's for different things. It's like The Mummy. I watched the
99, I think.
1999 Mummy movie, and I came away from it just really wanting...
All of them.
I mean, especially the two main people, and then
Brendan Fraser and Rachel Weisz.
The second I said that to you, you were like, yeah, that's how every bisexual feels.
Yeah, I have never talked to a single bisexual person who has watched The Mummy who didn't come away with that. I don't know how Rachel Weisz identifies, but I think she should at least be an honorary part of the Alphabet Mafia, because in addition to that movie, she's played a lesbian in like 3 movies.
You know, that's an interesting thing, is like there's discourse around people who are not part of the Alphabet Mafia playing queer characters in movies and on screen. My take on it is that people should not have to come out of the closet in order to represent aspects of themselves.
I completely agree, because I don't remember the specific guy, but there actually was a case where an actor was forcibly outed because people were giving him a hard time.
It happened to the author of Love, Simon.
Yeah, her too.
And I know that because I'm very obsessed with H. Bomber Guy's plagiarism on YouTube video.
That's your Margaritaville.
That's my Margaritaville.
We need to just have a day where we just sit and watch all of our comfort videos.
I think you're just talking about Wednesdays.
Well, I work on Wednesdays.
I think you're just talking about Tuesdays.
This is what we're doing with our Tuesday. I love the names of polish. When I was younger, I always wanted to have the job of like the person who works at the nail polish company who gets to name them. I don't think it's one person. I think it's probably done by like committee, but...
Yeah, everything's done by committee these days.
Is your podcast done by committee?
I mean, it's done by collaboration, but I don't think that's the same thing.
It's not really the same thing. Why don't you talk a little bit about some of your collaborators, like not the actors, but like the behind-the-scenes people?
Well, I just got off the phone with Ammon, who has just been my rock through this entire process. Oh my gosh. I am a writer and a performer, and it's probably bad for me to say I never want to be an executive producer ever again, but I am not a producer. I am a writer and performer doing my best impression of an executive producer. And so Ammon is sort of keeping me sane through all of that.
What makes this one different than all the other silver glitters? I guess there's different size flakes in it.
This is exhausting. YouTubers are truly the ones who are suffering the most. You heard it here first, folks.
I really thought those questions would take up more time. I'm sorry.
It's fine.
I was doing so well with them. I mean, we do have like an hour of you answering questions. That's gonna have to be edited down into a TikTok, which is why I was like, you need to do a YouTube cut as well.
Yeah, probably. Cole always knows what to do. Cole has also been my rock through all of this, because Cole is just someone who I can
You are giving it a big workload with this one. This is my birthstone, because my birthstone is ruby.
Yeah.
Your birthstone is peridot, which is this one.
Which is funny, because peridot is more your favorite color, and red is more my favorite color.
Yeah, I really love like greens and yellows.
I know this.
I'm a green and yellow bitch. What's everyone's favorite color? I am running out of questions. I'm kidding. You don't have to answer that.
Can I ask you questions?
You can ask me questions, sure.
Well, who's your favorite character?
That's like asking me to choose a favorite seal. It just can't be done. Because it changes. Like, sometimes I'm Team CB all the way. Sometimes I really feel for Boris. I feel like I identify with him in many, many ways.
Well, Boris is an anxious boy.
Yeah, like, and then there are other ways I don't identify with him because I've never considered myself particularly lawful, and I think that people should get away with crimes if they're funny enough.
I also a little bit think people should get away with crimes if they're funny enough.
If they're funny enough and nobody's really harmed, like the guy that went into IKEA and just like taped random arrows on the floor.
Or our boy, who I'm not going to name for legal reasons, but we all know who I'm talking about.
I don't know who you're talking about. I know who you're talking about.
Free him unless he's into bondage, in which case he can come over. We're getting through them.
Yeah, see, it's not so easy to ask someone questions. You gave me one. All right, so it's...
Oh, it looks cool on the bottom. Get your phone out. Let's show them the bottom. Look at that.
It's like a galaxy.
Yeah. That's sick as fuck, dude. What are you most excited for people who don't know as much about the series as you to discover in season 1?
I mean, obviously there's the mystery element. Less said about that, the better. I'm really excited for people to experience the romance because, you know, I feel like, and in this aspect, I feel like I identify most with Travis. I myself am on the aromantic spectrum somewhere. I haven't really spent a lot of time sitting down with it and figuring out exactly where, but I love romance stories and shipping. And there is a couple in this series, in this podcast, that I ship so hard. And I need other people in this fandom. Because it can't just be me.
This is the part that's so hard to talk about, because the reality shaper is not about being non-binary or being pansexual or being aromantic, but the characters do represent different identities on the gay spectrum. And it's hard because I have a hard time marketing that way for a few reasons. First of all, I think there are a lot of projects that will use representation will try to replace story with representation. You know what I mean? And that's not what this project is. This project is first and foremost a story. I don't want it to come off like the point of this is, you know, to have a bunch of queer folks, but at the same time, my life is full of queer folks. I'm queer, you're queer, I can't think of a single straight person in our cast, except maybe one or two. But it's like, so why wouldn't my fantasy world represent the people who inhabit my real world? Like, of course there are queer people, of course there are trans people in the reality shaper, because there are queer and trans people in my life. But it's hard to say, because I know some people would be like, oh, I would love to watch or read a fantasy story that has a non-binary character in it, but it's not about trans suffering. Because honestly, I would love to read that. Like, and so I want to get the word out. I want people to know and be aware. Like, hey, here's a fantasy story about a non-binary character that isn't about trans suffering. But at the same time, it's like, I don't want it to come off like I'm replacing story with representation. I don't want it to come off like it's about being queer. Like, no, it's about queer joy in the sense that these are queer characters whose trauma comes not from their queer identity, but from inhabiting a fantasy world. But yeah, does that make sense? Why it's hard to like...
I understand, and I honestly couldn't tell you how I would approach that.
Well,
because I don't know shit about marketing. I'm dreading getting to the marketing stage of when I start putting my work out there.
Well, I can help you a little bit with that, because clearly I'm great. Because nail polish has everything to do with the musical fantasy podcast.
We're stealing.
Oh, right. Yes. The dice have declared.
I mean, there was a reason why you put this one high effort, low reward.
It's very true. Very true. But who knows? Maybe there are some Sophia fans and Simply Nailogical fans who like D&D.
I mean, statistically, it's got to be at least one.
Or who like musicals. Yeah.
Should we apologize for how long this footage is? That it's going to inevitably have to edit down?
Cole knew what it was getting into. You know, it's just like... Me and my team have written more music for a non-binary character than exists in the entirety of the Broadway catalog.
Which you can use as a marketing slogan.
Oh yeah, that's going in the press release. I don't want to put that energy into the world. But like that's a big part of the reason I don't want to market this as like it's all about queer people, because it's like, no, it's about a fantasy story.
I mean, you could go kind of the route of like Steven Universe didn't actually market itself based on it being a very queer story.
That's true.
It just kind of through word of mouth became known as that.
Yeah.
Word of mouth and admittedly very intense fandom. You know, this is actually a thing I think about often, because every few years there's a new fandom that's like that, where it's like the fandom is just so insane that it's actually kind of turning people off from engaging with the media itself.
It's the 1% rule. 1% of any given group of people is going to be crazy and insane. And so the larger a fandom becomes, the more the loud 1% insane people come to represent the fandom as a whole.
I kind of feel that's how people are with Has Been Hotel now.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, no. I don't think you can say that. Andrew Underberg isn't going to let me borrow his recording studio anymore.
Well, you can cut it out.
Cut that out.
We're not going to talk about how crazy that fandom is.
Cole, cut that out. We are big Has Been Hotel fans, and we're normal. We are normal people who enjoy Has Been Hotel a normal amount. I think we're probably 2/3 of the way through now.
I know, I'm really hungry because I didn't eat lunch before we started this. But
this is our kitchen.
Well, yeah, I can't do anything about it now.
Anyway, yeah, it's a small world. All us musical theater writers know each other because either we're in BMI or we've done Musical Theater Fight Club together. Shout out Musical Theater Fight Club and Punch Up Theater Co.
I thought you weren't supposed to talk about Fight Club.
Yeah, I think that's why it hasn't been publicized enough for people to know about it. If you don't know, Fight Club is this really cool thing put on by two friends of mine, Nick and Justino, where a bunch of musical theater writers from all walks of life get handed down a prompt, and then they get 1 week to write a song based on the prompt. And I won the first ever Musical Theater Fight Club, which was very fun. I had a lot of fun doing it.
And now you're kind of the heel.
Now I've established myself as the heel of Musical Theater
To use
Fight
like
Club,
wrestler
yes.
language.
Last Musical Theater Fight Club, for example, I killed Oliver Richmond. Oliver Richmond wrote a fabulous song and won that round of Fight Club. And then
that song made me cry, and I want to listen to it again, and he still hasn't posted it anywhere because he's dead.
Because I killed him. And then the third winners, Andrea J. Love and Ammon Taylor, both of whom were working on the Reality Shaper in different capacities.
Oh yeah, you already talked a little bit about what Ammon's doing. What's Andrea doing?
Andrea is playing Edith Dragonheart and some other characters who I'm not going to spoil right now. Should we do another check-in? Oh my goodness. Should we look at the bottom? Ooh.
This is really hard to film.
Sorry.
I'm just going to be like, okay, tell us about every single cast member.
Oh my god.
I'm kidding. You don't have to do that. That was a joke.
Well, I love every cast member. Can I just say that?
Who's your favorite?
What?
I'm kidding. It was a joke. Actually, Drew. It's not me. I am a character in that universe.
If cameos count, I fear my favorite cast member is my dad.
Oh, you know what? That's fair. I can't argue with that one.
You didn't ask me who my favorite friend was. You just asked me who my favorite cast member was. I feel like those are two different roles.
I am a character in this universe. I have actually like an extensive lore that I've come up with for my Gamoran Sona.
Tell the people about your Gamoran Sona.
So in Gamoran, which is the continent that Sidrella is a city on, Gamoran has another city, Linnetkai. Like a lot of these city-states have things they're known for, and one of the things Linnetkai is known for is that it has a museum.
Yes. With a big old dragon skeleton
which
in
is
the
so
middle.
cool. Like, you know, when you walk into the American Museum of Natural History, if you've ever been to New York City, and there's just like dinosaurs in the lobby, like it's a big, beautiful lobby, and then there's the dinosaur skeletons.
This, by the way, I don't think we get to until book 5.
It's background information. Anyway, so my Gamoran Sona works in that museum.
You've also like written things that are adjacent to the Reality Shaper universe,
I've
just for fun?
I've written fan fiction. I've drawn a lot of fan art.
Well, no, because now you're kind of officially the character artist.
Oh, God.
I think that's just canon now. Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
What's a blorbo? I feel like I've heard of people saying like blorbo.
So
a
blorbo
lot.
is slang that it originally comes from Tumblr, and I think it has started to migrate to other portions of the
Put
internet.
it on TikTok, yeah.
Somebody's blorbo is like the character in the media that they really, really like this character. It is kind of like, it's sort of like a comfort character, but it's also a character that it's like you just want to rotate them in your head and look at them like they're in a microwave. Like, it's not even necessarily your favorite character, but it's the character that you're most taken
Fascinated
by.
by. Sure. Who's your Reality Shaper blorbo?
CB.
I do think they have a sort of mystique.
Yeah, like, I don't know if I would call CB my favorite. Sometimes they are, but like I said, all of the main cast, like, has been my favorite at one time or another.
Cole, can you edit out the name I'm about to say? Just bleep the name I'm about to say?
Yeah.
Even...
Yes. I mean, like, I was very taken with her, I don't want to give spoilers.
Well, Cole...
I was very taken with her, like...
Oh, yeah.
Like, that's something that I think a lot of butch people are really going to feel seen by.
Yeah, well, I think this is what occurs when queer people write their own stories, is that they're just... It's not that you're trying to write an authentically queer story, it's just that you happen to be authentically queer, writing a story about queer people, and it's an authentically queer story. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like, oh, I did so much research on the queer community. Well, now we're just talking about things that Cole's gonna have to bleep out most of it.
Or just completely cut this part of the
Or just cut
conversation
it
because
out,
you've got
yeah.
over an hour of footage.
Very true. Cole, feel free
You should
to...
apologize to it for doing all this.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I apologize, Cole.
No, I mean, when you send, like, the footage over in an email, just in the text, be like, first of all, I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
Is being drowned in nail polish one of your top 10 worst ways to die?
Probably not. I feel like that would hopefully go pretty quick. I just don't want a long, drawn-out death, you know?
As somebody
My personal
who's
top 10
drowned
worst
before,
ways to die?
it's actually, like, not the worst way to go. But I was also 4 at the time, so...
So take that with a grain of salt.
grain of salt, some ginger, dash of soy sauce, some garlic.
Well, now you're just thinking about lunch again.
I'm hungry. We'll get there. We'll get there.
We'll totally get there. I have faith. I have faith.
I don't know if I do, but that's okay. Question that is definitely not going to make the final cut.
Yeah.
If you could travel to anywhere in your fantasy world, what city would you like to take a vacation to?
I thought you were just going to stop at if you could travel to anywhere, and I was about to just... I want to go everywhere so bad. Like, if I just had a bunch of money and I could just go places and see things, like, I would be so happy.
But that's not the question I asked.
Shit.
If the American Museum of Natural History decided that they were going to let me live in there for free, I would. Their cafeteria has dino nuggets in it.
Do we have dino nuggets?
We do have dino nuggets. And at the end of all of this, you have to say that they have to shamash that like button.
Shamash that like button. Shamash that subscribe button. Who else could we steal from?
And I'll see you next time.
We're thieves.
Thieves, just like CB?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, why'd you decide to make them a thief? There's a question.
There was really no deciding about it.
And that's a leftover from the D&D campaign where
That
they
was
originally started as a bit.
Why? Yeah, I mean, why would you play a D&D character who isn't a thief is a better question.
People sometimes willingly choose to play lawful characters.
Can't relate.
Here's a question. Why the boars? What's up with the boars and the pigs?
It was the first thing that Chloe had us, attempted to have us fight. They were just so adorable. I think Chloe described them as like snorting and, like going. And I was fully in character in that point, and I was like, that's my new best friend.
So Boris is named Boris because of the boars?
Yeah. Boris's original name was actually Annalise. And Boris was going to be a very different character.
Wait. This is new lore for me. Back up. Start over?
The original character who was going to serve the Boris role was a character named Annalise, who also a Dragonborn, also a cop. What had happened was there was this beautiful moment where Chloe didn't want to have to deal with a boar hanging around anymore, which who could blame her? They had a lot going on. And so there was this beautiful, like, goodbye between CB and Boris the boar. And they, like, gave this really heartfelt goodbye and teared up a little bit. And I was like, oh, this is not about the boar. And so I pretty much immediately went to Chloe and I pitched, like, well, what if the character's name was Boris? And she cracked up. So, of course. So yeah, that's how Boris came to be. He's named after the boar that Chloe tried to get me to kill, that I then instead befriended. We did it. Okay, let's do it. It's like gray. It's like purple gray.
Oh, purple?
Hey.
Purple?
Oh my god. I'm never gonna hear the end of this, am I? Check it out. This is our franken-polish. This is what the influencers do, right? The hand.
Yeah.
Yeah. It is purple. You were right.
It's like a gray purple, like a desaturated purple, but there's some subtle glitter in there.
There's definitely glitter in there. Isn't that nice?
I can't focus. There it is.
Oh, here's a little more for you. Yeah, take that.
Jesus Christ.
Take it.
Oh.
Okay, that's really pretty, actually. It's like a desaturated gray.
I'm sure that, like, if you got it under, like, a microscope, there'd be, like, different colors of glitter and everything.
I don't think I have a microscope.
I don't either.
I should have gotten one for this.
It's almost, like, bluish.
It does have, like, an indigo, like, if indigo and lavender had a baby.
I think the baby of indigo and lavender is periwinkle.
It is giving periwinkle. Like, very dark, dusty periwinkle, don't you think?
Yeah.
I kind of love it. You know what? This was fun. It wasn't the purple you thought it was going to be, though.
It was not. I wasn't. I was expecting a more eggplanty purple.
Yeah, this is not at all.
What do you think?
What do you think?
I like it.
Cole, can you edit in the Christine, what do you think
Does Cole,
mashup thing?
does Cole know what that is? All right. If you liked that video, be sure to smash that subscribe button or smash that like button. Oh yeah, tell me about the live show.
We have a live show of the Reality Shaper. We're going to be singing some awesome songs. Top 10 Worst Ways to Die, Epic Tale, the non-binary song. So if you're in the NYC area, come by Pink Frog in Williamsburg to watch the original cast perform some songs.
On June 8th.
On June 8th, 2026. Monday, June 8th, 2026 at 7 p.m. at Pink Frog Cafe.
Be sure to smash that subscribe button.
And comment what we should mix next. Don't tell them we're not going to mix anything.
We're not doing
Don't
this.
tell them that, though.
How do YouTubers do this? This YouTube
No.
persona is exhausting.
I'm going to take a nap.